workers of Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria and of certain departments of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, describing it as a pragmatic way of taking some administrative steps to improve operational efficiency and reduce operating costs, while dispelling the insinuations that the relocations were political moves aimed at marginalizing a section of the country. The government said the allegations are unfounded. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, said the move is to make all of these agencies to be more efficient in their production and service delivery. That's the fulcrum of our conversation on State of the State this morning. I am Sunday Kolawole. Welcome you on board. Let me quickly say Happy New Month, everyone. And today, driving the conversation with me is a foremost public affairs commentator and public relations expert. I'm talking about Adebanjo Adegbenro. It's nice to have you join me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And Happy New Year too.
I wish you the same. I think it's the first time I'll have you on this program this year. Let's set the ball rolling. And I do not know, and so I want to know from you. And the people of Ondo State and indeed Nigerians want to know if you also agree that many of these moves, as many have also insinuated, are politically motivated other than economically motivated.
I love the use of the word insinuation. Pure insinuation. I think we should get to a point in Nigeria when we see things from the perspective of pragmatism. It's very painful that at a time when we are facing dire challenges, some persons are infusing dirty politics into pure administrative matters.
What fueled the insinuation?
Yes, it's because of what I believe in Nigeria. We are yet to divorce ourselves from what I call North-South dichotomy. We see ourselves not as Nigerians, we see ourselves from parochial regional perspective. We shouldn't deodorize what's going on. That is what's actually going on. Because if the relocation had been done to another country, then those who are against it would have a point. Is Lagos not part of Nigeria? I like to ask some basic question. Where is the Nigerian Defense Academy? Where is the Police Academy? The Nigerian Defense Academy, the foremost training institution for the Nigerian Army, is situated in Kaduna State. The foremost training institution for the Nigerian police is situated in Wudil in Kano State. Nobody is talking about relocating them. So, and now why are you now talking about where I have some facts at my disposal. I know, for instance, that the relocation of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria was at the behest of the workers of the authority. You see, when the relocation was done, the senior officials were relocated while the other staff still domiciled in Lagos. So every day you needed people to fly between Abuja and Lagos just to get the signature of a director.
And just like the minister did say that it cost them 450 million naira, right? That's like half a billion naira.
So if the fulcrum of their operation is in Lagos, why should people be traveling between Lagos and Abuja and incurring? We say we don't have enough money to run the system, yet you are throwing away money. So believe me, let us understand what's going on. It is pure politicking and this idea that we are more Nigerian than others. All of us have equal stake in this polity. So if we can situate some, Abuja is going to be overshooked before long. And if in the interest of the workers of the institute and even in the interest of giving better services to those who, it's just like saying that the NDDC headquarters should be taken from Port Harcourt and taken to Abuja. If we want to follow that logic that every headquarter should be domiciled in Abuja, then we'll then even ask that the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, should move to Abuja. So it doesn't gel. It doesn't. It shouldn't even become an item of discourse because we have more challenging issues bedeviling our polity.
Well, a beautiful submission if you ask me, but then I'm also much more concerned about what will be the logic if that's the logic for that of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, then what's the logic behind that of the Central Bank of Nigeria? As some have also said that many staff of CBN are even turning in resignation because of the move of some departments of CBN to Lagos. So does that not also really, to some extent, fuel the insinuation of some that perhaps it has been illogically given a political coloration?
You see, such insinuation would continue to be in the public base because some persons want people to follow a particular narrative. That is actually the thing. I see no reason why a company, if a company moves staff, nobody talks about it. So if a government parasite believes that in the interest of its operation, certain staff will have to move. And anybody who says that, Abba, I cannot move, you have an option. Resign or go to where you have been told to go. You see, if we're not careful, it's in the public domain that some 2-3 days ago, some persons wrote a petition that why should a wiki, because of his religion, be asked to be the minister of Abuja. So, you understand where I'm going? I'm saying that if we're not careful,
we keep having this coloration of religious and regional sentiments.
It's obvious that they have their own agenda. And I'm happy that the organization concerned, including the federal government, they are putting the real situation, the information that people need into the public domain. But I also want to, in a way, blame the federal government. You see, when the movement was done, it was just done like under the table. All these thing you are now telling us should have been put in the table. You see, at times the
communication gap.
The information managers of government, they are too reactive rather than being proactive. If they had seized the initiative of saying that these are the reason, you put this thing in major newspapers, in the television stations, on radio. So when these people are now insinuating, it is the people who have the facts on the table that will be telling you that this is wrong. So for me, it's a red herring. It's a red herring. It's an attempt to play and score cheap political points. Like I said at the beginning, Nigeria belongs to all of us. Any organization that is owned by the federal government can operate from any part of the country without let or hindrance. Since that has always been the case, all the headquarters, all the major parastatals of government, all of them are not in Abuja.
We're still talking economy, so let me quickly reel off some statistics to you. Naira hit a record low of 1,531 naira to a dollar. That's on Tuesday. In fact, the currency closed at 1,482 naira 57 kobo on the official market. It has lost around 40% since the start of the year. Its official exchange rate has been drifting towards the parallel market level as foreign currency shortages in the country funnel demand to unofficial sources. And so the central bank, in a bid to disincentive back channels to borrow the churn, banks are now the new parallel market, enabling banks to buy and sell forex at any value. What does this move by the CBN? What does it mean for the strength of the
Those
naira?
are fantastic initiatives. Indeed, wonderful initiative that on the surface should allow the naira to compete favorably, not just with the dollar, with other currencies.
You think it will aggravate the situation?
However, no, I'm going somewhere. Okay. However, you know, all these economic gymnastics will not solve the problem. The major issue is that we have become a consuming nation. We are not producing. And if you don't produce and you are doing massive importation of goods and services, your naira will continue to fall because you are using your currency, your economy, your production, what you are getting to buy. For instance, let me give you an example. We still import fuel. Nigeria is about the only major oil producing nation that is importing fuel. The money, and will you import fuel with naira? So if we are producing fuel in Nigeria, and you know the foreign exchange that will be conserving, and again, when you look at our consumption pattern, if Toyota brings a new car today, before tomorrow, Nigerians would have ordered those cars. So we are not disciplined in terms of our consumption pattern. And most of our productive companies are living because of the these things are. Let's not just look at it from the issue of buying and selling. For instance, if your power is bad and you need to import generators, you are not producing those generators in Nigeria, so you are also using foreign exchange. So, and again, look at the Japa syndrome. We have more families looking for foreign exchange to get to send their children abroad or to pay. So that is, there is a lot of pressure on foreign, and we are not also earning enough. And the little we are earning, for instance, let me give you an example. Okay, you sell crude oil, and that is very sickening. You sell crude oil, maybe $200 per barrel. I'm just tentatively and then speaking, you are now using $230 to import what you have sold at 200. You are using 230. Who does that? So this thing does not require rocket science. You don't need an economist from Harvard to know that the problem with the naira is because there is too much pressure on the dollar here. Everybody wants dollar because of some of the things that I've highlighted. And let's put the cards on the table. How many companies in Nigeria are producing goods and services that are exporting those goods and services? If you want to earn more foreign exchange, the only area where we are earning, in spite of our humongous natural resources, do you know that Nigeria is one of the highest fish importing nation in the world? In spite of the fact that we are surrounded by water, what have we done?
Even though those is having the largest coastline.
So we're still, when you go to the market, what fish do you see? Iced fish imported from other countries. And do you import them with naira? No, with dollars. So everybody is, and then go to any places where they sell wine. The choicest wine from around the world you get in Nigeria. So that is why part of the things I think the National Orientation Agency should be doing is to try to build a culture where we will buy Nigeria, eat Nigeria. Because if you don't do
you
that,
think leading by example would be the way to go in that?
It should start from the top. It should start from the top. You see, why is it that wherever you go, any part of the world, if there is no food, you can't eat the food. What food will you be able to see to eat? Chinese food. So they are sensible. They have done it in such a way that when I was in Ogun State, we had Chinese people doing some project for us. I was in government then. At the back of their house, I will never forget, we went visiting them and we saw that they were planting what they were eating. They potted those and they were planting. So they had just little to buy from our open market. So we don't do that. And indeed, if you are taking mango in Nigeria and you just accidentally drop it somewhere,
it germinates.
A month after, when it will germinate. We don't need fertilizer, but we're not doing that. And because of insecurity too, there is a pressure on our farming settlements, and so all of those things are responsible for the parlor state and the free fall of the naira.
Now, all of this you've highlighted, how do they juxtapose with the position of the CBN governor, Layemi Cardoso, saying that, as a matter of fact, that naira is even undervalued and that there's a need to
further.
So, how do we juxtapose all of these problems that are staring us in the face with the need, according to the CBN authority, to still look at how the value of naira could be more enhanced?
You see, when you talk about enhancement of naira, they are, most of them, they will still tell you that it is overvalued, and I don't get it. You go to the market today. You see, I keep telling people there is something about those who are in the levels of government and the people. There is a disconnect. You see, if I go to the market on Monday to buy a Congo of Gary for 500 naira and I return a week after, I buy it for 800 naira. I know there is inflation, but they will tell me that is demand and supply. No, I'm not. Nobody should bamboozle us with economic rigmarole. The fact is that we are currently facing that situation in terms of economic hardship in the country, and so they must come up with more pragmatic ways, to intervene. They must come up with. It's not just throwing money at the people. They must come up with more pragmatic ways to intervene. If people are producing certain goods and services and they need support of government to ensure that those things, the prices are controlled. So, but if businessmen, let me tell you something about the economy that I know. No businessman is a Father Christmas.
Very well.
If, for instance, a businessman, and this is just a reply to the central bank government. If I'm a businessman and I import something for 5,000 naira today, and I'm to sell it for 6,000, and I check the operating environment, and I see that if I'm going to buy the same thing in 2 months' time, I'll buy at 10,000. I'll raise my price. Why? So that I'll have enough money. That is actually what's going on. So until they are able to stabilize, we are not asking that naira should be 1 naira to a dollar. What we're asking for is stability. Look at what has happened in the last 2 months. Naira has fallen by as much as how many percentage? From about 1,100 to now. So what we're asking is stability. They are the experts.
Do you see this happening at any moment soon?
That is why they are there.
They are there, but are they doing what to make this
that's why they are there, and that is why they should put on their thinking cap. And you see, at times,
do you think they have thinking cap with the way things are going?
I think the president is right to have appointed them, because the president is aware of their competence. That's what we are now waiting for. Luckily, the president has told us when he inaugurated them that they will be benchmarked, and if they are unable to deliver, they will be fired. So we are giving them. They are in the honeymoon now. The honeymoon is gone past. So practical, we should, between now and maybe we are in January now. Maybe between now, we are in February. February starts today. When will this quarter end?
But Mr. Adegbenro, I'm not bothered because you say they're in the honeymoon, but
yes.
then
the honeymoon is past.
But Nigerians are not feeling any honey. And when I say that, they're not tasting the honey
at all.
And then you also look at food inflation, you will know that things are falling apart. The center is not holding anything. When you also look at the way naira is falling freely by the day, then you agree with me that there is a problem.
Yeah, we have a problem in the politics.
Where do we go from here? Now, if you say they have thinking cap, what are they doing with the cap? Are they really putting it on?
What we're saying in effect is that if you are a minister, your job is to superintend over that place and give succor to the people. Not, you see, I don't like when ministers come up and be telling us we'll do this, we'll do that. What I believe is, like I said, if I go to the market today and the garri that I bought 500 naira last week has become 400, I know that there is stability in the system. So people will only know about stability in the system the way it touches them.
When they have direct...
it must have direct impact. For instance, I love to take coffee in the morning. There is a brand of coffee that I normally... we call it 3-in-1 from 100. When I went yesterday to buy one, the size has reduced and the price has increased. So, indeed, most of the people... What I've seen, that even those people who have not increased their prices, what they have done is to reduce the content and the quality of their product. So it is, the government should find a way to come around and tell us, the first thing is that you must solve this power problem. It's actually a shame that in spite of the humongous amount of money that has been pumped into that sector, it has gone from bad to worse, especially in the last 6 months.
And we have a minister for power.
Let me say this. People blame, I'm not going to mention the name, the telecommunication companies for increasing. They will continue to increase. Why? Because they run on generator with diesel 24 hours a day. The moment you want them to reduce, give them power, let them pay for the power, you will see that it will come. There's no rocket science. Even food and other services would go up.
Mr. Adegbenro, they say health is wealth.
Yes.
But it seems that health is now poverty. Because when you look at the cost of basic medications now, you'll be shocked. Someone was also lamenting just a day before yesterday that, look, what we used to buy, I will not be mentioning names of drugs. I'm not advertising for anyone, and I know you are not also ready to pay for that. So, what they used to buy 500 naira, now they buy for 1,500, and so on and so forth.
Let me shock you. There is something that I used to tell people, that one of the prayers that you should continue to pray is that you should not have a medical emergency in Nigeria. We should not delude ourselves. the medical sector is in dire straits, apart from the constant drifting of experts to other countries. And you see, what we do in Nigeria at times, you sit down and begin to wonder. You use federal government money to train somebody at Lutz for 7 years. The person work in Nigeria for 6 months and takes that expertise to America, to other countries. So now, let me talk about malaria. One of the frequent ailment that people have is malaria. And we do about 200, 500. Last year, you would buy a typical malaria drug. And then now it's about 1,500. This is the only country that there is something that's that endemic. You cannot walk to a center close to you and get free. I think, which country are we playing in this world, in this AFCON? Maybe Equatorial Guinea or so. No, Cape Verde. Okay. They celebrated 2 months ago that they have been able to eradicate malaria from their country. Focused leadership. We can do it if we were focused. We're saying that people will know that there is a federal ministry of health, a state ministry of health, if they are able to assess quick and prompt delivery of health services. In the days of yore, we don't used to pay. Now, most of our health sector, when you go to, even at federal medical centers, they have become money guzzlers. If you don't have money, they even operate with POS. You pay for everything, including registration. It shouldn't be. So, when you don't have good health services, you can hardly afford to buy. I read something in the papers today, and I was saying, no, you are wrong. National Bureau of Statistics says that for you to eat a good meal for a day in Nigeria, you need 789 naira. I said, no, how? It's not possible. It's not possible. So, you know, we're giving the president and his team the benefit of the doubt. They made so many promises. This is delivery time. Nigerians want them to deliver. And there are 4 things they need to do urgently. The first thing is that, you see, however bad a government is, in the constitution of every nation, luckily it's in the Nigerian constitution, the major focus of government, major thing that the government should do is the preservation of the lives and property of the citizenry. That is, so, I mean, look at what's going on.
Of course, we'll get to it. Look at what's insecurity.
So that's number one. Then number 2, we have been unable since 1999, in spite of several ways, to solve the power problem. If you don't solve the power problem, the economy cannot get a shot in the arm, because that power problem is the thing that is. Why are some of these multinationals leaving Nigeria? What people don't know is that it's partly because of power. You know, there was a time I did, because I write from time to time about what's happening in the polity. The Big Brother Nigeria, I think about 6 years ago, they took it to South Africa to stage, and I was incensed that how could you see, this is Big Brother Nigeria, and you are doing it in South Africa. So a lot of us, we came together, some of us journalists, and we wrote. Of course, they did it. It ran its course there. But the feedback, because some of them now reached some of us, feedback, power. So the last 4 editions, they had to do it in Nigeria, but spent humongous amount of money to power the show. Because I was like, how can you say this is Big Brother Nigeria and you are taking it? And you see, I think there's a problem with Africa. I'm sorry to digress. The power problem is now also crippling South Africa. They now also have as many outages as we have in Nigeria. Why? Mismanagement of resources and not putting those experts who should. Because from 1999 till now, we're still talking about solving the power problem. Well,
so much to really deal with in that. Let me really go back to the issue of this relocation of Federal Aviation Authority of Nigeria. The Minister of Aviation, Professor Skayamo, is hell-bent, senior advocate of Nigeria. Look, that's not going back on this matter. Well, northern elites are saying, look, we will not agree with you. Who blinks first?
No, it's not about blinking first. It's not actually a matter for debate. They have their facts. Let Nigerians decide. You see, when you talk about elite, where another word that I'd like to use for the elite is a cabal, who believe that this thing must be done our way. Not, they are not arguing that it should be done in the that is the, they are not saying that is the location is the relocation or non-relocation in the interest of Nigeria. They are talking about that. You see, when we were younger in Aves, they said they in some churches they have what we call parochial committee. Go and check the meaning of parochial. Our own interest only. So they are saying that they are talking, and it's fair. They are defending their parochial interests. So other Nigerians too should rise and defend their own parochial interests. That is why, whether we like it or not, the major problem still besetting this nation is this idea of seeing ourselves from the perspective, prism of North versus South. That is just it.
Before we go on a very quick break, I like to know your opinion on this. I know we've reached that age, but would you say this administration is communicating well with the people?
No, they are too sophisticated in their communication. They are not. They should come down to our level. You are not talking only to the elite. They are not talking to the people of Nigeria the way, we want to hear them, want to feel them. We're not feeling them. It's like they are in a cocoon talking to themselves and believe. And this idea of KBAC, I don't like it. KBAC means whatever we want to do, we'll do whether you. No. They have not seen a systematic way of communicating with the Nigerian people. I see people talking to the elite and talking among themselves. So they should do better. And this idea of saying all forms of criticism as sabotage should stop. When people criticize you, look at why they are criticizing you and see what you can do right. Not that you immediately label those criticizing you as enemies of state and enemies of the government.
Well then, we'll now look at issues of security challenges. The issue of security challenges, so they seem to be really staring us in the face before, but now they are really punching us in the face. But that will be after this break. Just recently, we heard of the gruesome murder of monarchs. Look at that class in Ekiti State. The kidnap of school pupils and their teachers, as well as driver, and so on and so forth. Look at what is happening in the nation's capital and many other places like that. That will form part of what we'll be talking about when we return from this break. Please do stay with us, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. It's still State of the State on this channel, and of course, I've been having a robust conversation with a former public affairs commentator and public relations expert, Mr. Adebanjo Adegbenro. Thank you so much for still being with me on the program. Now, interestingly, you head the public relations arena of Federal University, specifically Federal University of Technology, Akure. And when you look at the issue of education in Nigeria, flowing from our conversation all along, you understand that the institution, tertiary institutions, they are not insulated from all of these problems. And so they have their own fair or unfair share of the problems. In your institution, your school was in the news recently, and then it was not for the right reason. It was for the issue of protests. No thanks to hiking school fee and all of that. Let me know the true position of things. Was it really a hike or a misunderstanding of some concept in the matter of FUTA?
Let me just come clean and tell you what is going on. We have been talking about the economy. And for instance, most of the services, goods that the university also uses in carrying out its function of teaching, research, and community service are sourced from the Nigerian economy. What happened was that a proposal was made that we need to do some adjustment of the fee. For instance, as those who were paying 37, the proposal was that, okay, let's look at the economy. Okay, you start paying about 131.
From 37?
Yes, to 131. Proposed.
Okay.
So we should
not yet implemented by the university.
Proposed. And it was meant for us to have the feedback from the stakeholder, because we have a vice chancellor who is the mother. who Professor Adenike Oladiji, when you see her interact with the students, you will know that we couldn't have gotten a better person to run the affairs of our university at a point like this.
Mr. Adegbenro, just a moment.
Yes.
I like to let us situate this matter
Yes.
very well.
Yes.
And for the interest of Rotarians
Yes.
and our people
Yes.
to understand what exactly it
Yes.
is. You said it was a
A
proposition
proposal was made
from 37
to
131
for
for a
still
particular course.
No, not
For everybody?
For year 2. I mean, that's just the range between 130 and 137.
Okay.
And then for new students coming in, 200 because I have the facts. 200 and
That's why you're the spokesperson of the institution.
240 something thousand. Okay. Proposed.
How did this proposal get to the student that made it to now cause agitation?
No, wait. You see, what people should first note is that number one, students were not on campus.
Okay.
And number two, there are representatives
Of the student body.
of the students' body who ordinarily will get this proposal.
Okay.
So, of course, there will be some lacuna and there will be some persons who will say, I will do it this way. No, okay. We put the facts on the table. After the agitation, which just took place for about 7 hours, and it was just the gates that they needed us to know, okay, come, let's discuss, and we discussed. And of course, you will know that as I'm talking to you, that 137 has been reduced.
To what?
I'll get the facts very soon.
But not up to 130.
No, it's not. Nobody is paying that. Even the one.
What was the minimum of the range that the students stay lights now without paying?
I would give you before
we end this
so I'm just
conversation,
so that is the situation. I'm aware that the range is now between 73 and maybe 78.
Not to move to 100.
No, it's not even from 68. 68 because final year students I think is about 6. Year 4 student I think is about 68,000. It's now between 73. So we have climbed down from about 130. The minimum for them is now 68 and the maximum is 73. I think I have that facts right.
Okay.
And if
hold
on. If you see, we also measure acceptability of policy. We have our ways.
Very well.
And you can check. I'm challenging you, and I'm challenging my listeners. They can go to the official Facebook of the university and see the comments of students, of ordinary Nigerians, and of parents. And I want to let it be that even among federal universities, the fee in FUTA is still about the cheapest. Fact. And so for the incoming students from 249, it's been reduced to about 150.
Okay.
100,000 of it.
Okay.
They are already paying because even registration has started and school will reopen next week. And it is important for me to state this as a matter of fact. FUTA was never shut.
So what
because at that time, the school was not in session.
Okay.
So you couldn't have shut an institution that was not in session. But you see, normally we have students who, for one reason or the other, will still be on campus, whether because they belong to one organization, they are doing one project. We now told them, you need to excuse. Ordinarily, they would have to actually go because there will be fumigation and so on. But because of the need to ensure that we manage the situation, that was what happened. So the school is just reopening. So there was no point in time when
it was not shut.
And
students were only asked to excuse.
And I want to tell us that the new fee was an agreement between the university authority and the student union.
Okay.
And you have seen, again, let me reiterate, for the sake of parents listening to me, the 130 something has been reduced to between 68 and 73 for year 2 to year 5 students. For new students.
So no no returnee should collect more
that is
than
what I'm
73
saying. It is there.
From the
it's on the
parents,
university
so
Facebook.
that they also know.
They also know. And for new students, incoming students, because they need to do a wide range of tests and some other. And that takes me back to why the thing would have to be a little bit jacked up. Now, for on a monthly basis, we used to pay about 2 million for electricity. Ask me what we pay monthly, 35 million. And who consume most of the electricity? The students. Because what we have done is The worst thing that would happen to a university is if you have generators at everywhere, it will you cannot. So we have what we call priority arrangement with those who sell power to us, and so they cannot charge you what they are charging the ordinary people. So we pay about 35 million. Hold on. Now the University of Ibadan VC lamented this week.
Okay.
Is in the public domain. They spend about 200 million for consumables monthly. How much do they get from government? 10 million. Do the mathematics.
So then it brings us back to the issues of economy,
Yes.
and then the intricacies therein. Okay, your point's well made. Parents, I hope you already understand now that full-time management is saying the fee has been reduced
Drastically.
If your child is going back to school, not a fresh student, is not going to collect more than 73,000 naira.
73,
and the new student is not more than 150,000 naira.
Exactly.
Okay, I think that's already well made. Let's go to the crux of the matter.
Yes.
Insecurity in Nigeria is becoming a huge matter. As a matter of fact, many people are now afraid of traveling from one place to the other. And you now find that the rich also cry. It's no longer that the poor alone are the victims. Just in the course of this week, 2 kings, monarchs in the state, were gruesomely murdered. One of them escaped just miraculously because the 3 Welcome back, everyone. Still talking state of affairs of the Nigerian state, and still very much with me, Mr. Adebanjo Adegbenro. Thank you so much for still being with me. We were discussing the issue of security challenges in Nigeria, then looking at how it is becoming and assuming a very dangerous trend. Much more now that it seems that the center is not holding anything together.
Indeed, it's gotten to a situation where we can say everybody for himself, God for us all. So the problem is that we have a country that has refused to practice true federalism. That is actually, you see, some of these things we should begin to put it the way it is. How can a governor be the chief security officer of the state and is shorn of all paraphernalia of security? We've had occasions where a state governor was recently even targeted by some security forces that were supposed. So the first thing is that it's time for state police. Let's put it the way it is. Let every state begin to operate its own security network. You see, there are certain terrain. When you deploy somebody from Borno State to come and govern the security of Ondo State, he does not know all the terrain.
Where is Amotekun?
Hold on.
This is Southwest. Southwest has a kind of security arrangement.
What people don't know is that there is a limitation to what Amotekun can do because of the constitution of the country. Most people don't know that there is a type of gun that Amotekun operatives cannot carry. And most of these bandits have sophisticated weapons. You want to go and face a man with sophisticated weapon with pump action. You know what pump action means? When you shoot one, you have to load it, pump it again for it to, because by the constitution of the country, only federal security agencies can be in possession of certain weapons. And you know what the former governor who died recently, you know what he went through before Amotekun could come to the fore. And we shouldn't lie to us. Apart from Ondo State, even in the southwest, all the other states are just mouthing their Amotekun mantra. It's not as firm as the one we have. That is why Ondo State can even say, I will deploy. So, to answer your question, Amotekun is not in existence fully in even most of the southwestern states. And until we begin to take the security of our own security into our own hands, community policing, state policing, local government policing, these people will continue to overrun. Look at what they did to those people, including going to a town and taking young people, taking them hostage. You know, in America, if you do armed robbery, you can be pardoned. If you do, they can give you 6. But when you take people hostage, it is life imprisonment or death penalty in some states in America, because you are depriving them of their inalienable right to freedom of movement. So I'm saying that taking people hostage, abducting people is more odious than is about the most odious of all crimes. So it's time for the Southwest governors to come together again and reappraise the operations of Amotekun. And in doing this, they must bring the traditional rulers on board.
Mr. Adegbenro, when the Tinubu administration came on board, or let me start from when campaigns were going on, so many promises.
Exactly.
Renewed hope, renewed hope, renewed hope you were hearing. And Nigerians are asking, is this renewed hope or renewed problem? Because of what they are facing. And you will not want to blame them, I suppose. Because all of the things we highlighted today, is it not enough for them to want to question what they're experiencing?
Exactly.
So the question is, where is the renewed hope for Nigerians? Now the Senate has summoned service chiefs to come and explain what exactly is going on. The nation's capital is no longer safe, and you find many of all of these problems also spreading to many other parts of the country. Where do we go from here? What should be the agenda of the meeting?
What I said recently to some persons, I said what we're facing currently is because of the ineptitude of the past and the tentativeness of the present. Ineptitude because that situation was grossly mismanaged by the past administration because of the coloration of some of those being fingered as being responsible for stoking the insecurity. Now, this new administration is also a little bit hampered. You see, the Buhari administration was very lucky. He could blame most of his shortcomings on the past administration. But this administration does not have that luxury. So it must walk the talk. So the agenda, number one, I said the major thing that the government does, apart from providing health, education,
social
is the security. Because if you don't have security, you can't even enjoy those other things. So I'm tired of people summoning people and coming out with communique. Let us have the concrete reality of those summoning on the street. And then we should now begin to punish people for infracting an infraction on the policy. You just hear that some people that have been fingered as being responsible, you don't name and shame them, and you don't take them into custody to try them. So the moment you begin to say, okay, these are the people funding these people, why did we do NIN? So who is taking the money that who is banking those money? We did NIN because you said it would be easy for you to go after and track things. So, but you are not tracking them. And then we're still fixated with a physical, trying to do it physically. The world has moved on. The Nigerian police, the Nigerian army should invest more on digital technology. Let me shock you. The Federal University of Technology did a project for the Nigerian government because of, I'm not going to go into the detail. We have the wherewithal to map any part of Nigeria in FUTA. We have the wherewithal to map it and tell you this is where this is. We did it for the federal government. And we have people in FUTA who can do what is called underground mapping. So, and let me also shock you, most young Nigerians are so digitally savvy that if they are called, they know what to do. So I think that this manual approach to policing should be reduced to the minimum.
You've also talked, I think what you're talking about is also happening to research and all of these things. The end product of those things, what happens to them?
What we are doing in FUTA is that even if others are not buying into it, we are buying into it. For instance, a year ago, one of our students devised an app that can make people, you enter the library digitally. And the vice chancellor called the librarian. Oh yeah. So in FUTA now, library administration is being administered through an app developed by a year 4 engineering students. And we're doing that for all other. And recall that recently the federal government released the Nigerian Research Fund grant. In Nigeria, FUTA 117. Hands-on technology, hands-on research. But like you have said, there is still a disconnect between these technologies, these researches, and the government, because we still believe that what you import
from outside.
But let me tell you something: the Americans will never give you any technology that will make you to surpass them. So it's in our own interest that in looking for solutions to our security challenges, we should also look inward. We have universities that have the wherewithal to help us map these locations.
Because of our time, and finally, I do understand that if we want to make any headway in this whole matter, we must really deal with the virus called corruption. And it seems that some have said that the Tinubu administration seems serious about fighting corruption, maybe judging from the Better Edu Gate and all of that. But from the standpoint of not just a Nigerian, but a journalist and a public relations expert, do you really think we're serious?
No, we're not doing enough. We're not doing enough. Because you do enough when you name and shame and when you try. For instance, recently somebody was taken into custody, stole about some 20 billion, and he was given 2 years to return. What is that? That is even an incentive. That is even an incentive for me that, okay, if I steal about 20 billion, hire 5 sons, and then do plea bargaining. At the end of the day, we do it 50-50. I return 50%, and then I keep. It's an incentive to steal more. So it's important for the government to walk the talk, name and shame, and try, and then take back. Take back and make corruption very unpleasant so that people by themselves, you see, it's not only politically exposed people that are corrupt. We have people in businesses, people in government. You cannot take money out of government alone. You have people who facilitate this process. So those loopholes, I hope that this momentum, this new momentum of the EFCC will be sustained, and it will not be slaughtered on the altar of political expediency.
Mr. Adebanjo Adegbenro is a public affairs commentator and publications expert. Indeed, the head of the corporate communications arena of Federal University of Technology, Korea Futa. I thank you so much for all of the things you've
It's been nice talking with you, and we hope and we pray for a better Nigeria.
Of course, we keep the prayer on, but I hope we will walk and then not just be praying.
Yeah, no. Because even the Bible enjoins us to do what?
To walk and then pray. Okay, then. Thank you so much. Maybe I say pastor as part of
we thank God for his
everyone,
goodness.
thank you so much for being part of the Outlook. This is where we say a very big thank you to you for being part of it. But they're leaders at the end of affairs. I think it is time for you to really sit up and do the needful. You were not voted to complain. You were not voted to make excuses. It is time for you to do the needful in getting Nigeria on a pedestal of development. If you cannot do it, excuse the stage and let those who can do it get there. But if you think you can do it, the time to do it is now. I am Sunday Kolawole. Please enjoy the rest of the day. Good morning.